Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 best PlayStation remakes. So long as the remake was a PlayStation exclusive before or after, it counts for our consideration. Number 10, The Last of Us Part 1.
He's got everything to do with that little girl.
Admittedly, we can understand why folks were salty over this title. Seriously, no factions mode? And you still want $70? To Naughty Dog's credit, the original Last of Us was improved upon here. Many of the mechanics, controls, and AI within Part 2 helped the predecessor shine here. Yes, we know the PS4 remaster was just as good and is still widely playable today. However, for those who somehow still haven't played it, The Last of Us Part 1 was a good jumping off point, so long as you didn't grab the PC port. Number 9, Medieval. The original game was an instant classic on the PS1 with its unique art style, wondrous score, and colorful characters. But what could it have looked like with 20 years of improved technology? You get the 2019 remake developed for the PS4. Sir Daniel Fortescue retains his cartoony, jawless look, and the land of Gallowmere is now fully realized. Every level looks just how it looked in 1998, but with significantly better textures, controls, and visual effects. And if you would love to go back and play the original Medieval, developer Other Ocean Emeryville tucked it away as an unlockable for beating the remake 100%. Number 8, Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 Remix.
Here! Deep freeze! Fire!
For a time, the only way to play this collection was on the PlayStation 3. And it was kind of necessary if you wanted to get into the series, as the first game hasn't aged too well in terms of controls. But due to most of the game's assets getting lost, director Tetsuya Nomura and his team had to rebuild the first Kingdom Hearts from the ground up. With it came some serious improvements that were desperately needed. All of the music was redone and took full advantage of the PS3's audio output. Combat and controls were made to handle similarly to Kingdom Hearts 2, making it more accessible to newcomers and more replayable. It may not be exactly like the original, but 1.5 Remix was the hero we needed to preserve the first game.
If we stick together, we're unbeatable. Not even Hercules stands a chance. With these guys beside me, I'm ready for anything.
Number 7, Spyro Reignited Trilogy. The original PS1 games are still a treasure to play today. In terms of graphics, though, they could definitely benefit from modern hardware. Developed by Toys for Bob, Spyro Reignited managed to capture the magic and wonder of the first 3 games. The characters exuded personality and no longer looked like expressionless Muppets. Levels saw beautiful texture work and were only redesigned in small areas where it was absolutely necessary. And Steve Copeland's new rendition of his music from the original games was just as fantastic as it was decades ago. Our only complaint was that they couldn't seem to fix all that trouble with the trolley nonsense.
But first, let me tell you a story.
No thanks. See ya!
Number 6, PacMan World Repack. The most aggravating part of the original Pac-Man world was how it was designed to fight back against game rentals at the time. Just look at the cave levels in Anubis Rex. Repack managed to fix every problem with the original game. In addition to increasing Pac-Man's speed, every level got a major makeover in visuals and design. Every level felt way shorter and more concise with its placement of collectibles. Boss fights like Anubis Rex saw some major tweaks to make their fights more exciting and satisfying. And the checkpoint system? Way more reasonable than the original. We're seriously hoping that remakes for World 2 and World 3 are already underway. Number 5, Crash Bandicoot N. Sane Trilogy. Before we saw the return of Sir Fortescue and Spyro, Crash began the surge of PS1 remakes with the Insane Trilogy. For the first time in over a decade, the original Crash Bandicoot titles were finally being brought forward and given a fresh coat of paint. Vicarious Visions really knocked it out of the park with the character animation, level design, and lighting. On top of that, all the current cast reprised their roles with the original writing left intact. Since then, the Bandicoot has finally received a fourth game, a remake of Crash Team Racing, and a MOBA. Here's hoping his future will shine brighter with a shade of green. Whoa! Number 4, Ratchet and Clank. While many would argue this 2016 reboot is nothing like the original games, well, it is. The family-friendly tone has been a part of the series since Tools of Destruction, and given how mean Ratchet is to Clank in the first game, the remake was sorely needed. Here the Lombax and Warbot have more humble beginnings, with Clank being much more intelligent and Ratchet acting less snarky.
You must be Big Al. It is nice to meet you. I am Clank. This is Ratchet.
But the best part was how we were given a better backstory for both Quark and Dr. Nefarious without the narrative losing complete control like in the original. Everything makes more sense here in terms of the lore, the story, and more importantly, the characters.
Now promise me you'll get that infobot to Captain Quark.
I promise. Thanks for your help.
Number 3, Demon Souls. The original Demon Souls was great for what it was, in 2009. But with the advancements in technology we've made since then, it is really tough to go back to. Long load times, awful frame rate, janky controls, it isn't pretty. Bluepoint Games, however, managed to rebuild the entire game, and it's almost as if they simply ported the game forward. Yes, it looks almost exactly like the original Demon Souls, but now it's packed with incredibly fast load times and a buttery smooth 60 frames per second. It looks insanely beautiful. Just look at these dismal environments. Number 2, Shadow of the Colossus. Much like Demon Souls, the first iteration of Shadow of the Colossus was great on PlayStation 2 and on PlayStation 3. The thing is that those controls were rather cumbersome. Once again, Bluepoint Games swoops in to save the day. The PlayStation 4 version refined the controls and even presented a better control scheme that lined up with modern action games at the time. Taking advantage of the PS4's visual fidelity was already what sold us. Fixing a major design problem? Huh, well worth the asking price. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Final Fantasy VII Remake. For years, many of us were worried about this game. How do you possibly remake a game as beautiful as Final Fantasy VII without messing up one iota of its DNA? How do you even approach that and make it playable for both newbies and veterans? Well, you fix what was broken, retell the story in a more cohesive way, have your composers rearrange the music to create pieces more refined than the original.
So?
In other words, you graduate from a small orchestra to a grand symphony of stellar combat, brilliant storytelling, and do it all with a fun attitude and a smile on your face. Please make sure you play Final Fantasy VII Remake before you go jumping into Rebirth.
There's still so much to be done.
What's the best PlayStation remake you've played? Did it make our list? Let us know down in the comments. And be sure to subscribe to Watch Mojo for more great videos every day.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.